final bill in today's rule, H.R. 204, will look familiar to many people here today, as we are again considering legislation that would bring hope to terminally ill patients across our country. A similar bill, H.R. 5247, passed this House in March. Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and Senate Democrats have refused to act on H.R. 5247, the revised version of the Right to Try legislation, which passed the House 2 months ago on a strong bipartisan vote. As this body had heard earlier this year, Right to Try was the one piece of legislation that President Trump, when he came here to this House and stood in the well of this House and specifically promised to the American people in his State of the Union address. Today, I will say again what I said in March when we first took up Right to Try. I stand with the President, I stand with the thousands of Americans with terminal diseases and their families and their friends in getting this important policy to the President's desk because, Mr. Speaker, when we pass this bill today, it doesn't go back to the Senate. It's already been passed by the Senate. It goes immediately down to the White House for a signature and becomes law. Here's an interesting fact. In the last couple of months since the House passed its Right to Try bill, even more states have joined this strong grassroots movement. Now 40 states, including my home state of Texas, have passed and signed a version of Right to Try into law. In 9 other states, a version of Right to Try has already been introduced, including the state of New York, which is the home state of the Minority Leader of the United States Senate. Last year, the Energy and Commerce Health Subcommittee held a hearing on access to investigational drugs where S-204 was discussed, and at that time, the Commissioner of the Food and Drug Administration, Dr. Scott Gottlieb, and other advocacy groups expressed concerns on the various Right to Try bills introduced in the Senate and the House. So, when the President asked the Congress to act, responded by holding multi-stakeholder discussions with patient groups, medical research advocates, and the administration in order to improve the original Right to Try bill. And I want to commend Chairman Walden for leading these negotiations. I'm also proud of the revised Right to Try legislation that the Energy and Commerce Committee produced because the policies were sound, and I believe it was a positive step forward in granting access to new treatments while allowing additional input from the Food and Drug Administration. Unfortunately, the minority party on the other side of the Capitol, Senate Democrats, said no thank you to the revised House bill. While I am not surprised by their decision, I think the American people, particularly patients with terminal diseases and their loved ones, would not be satisfied with a no thank you non-action by Congress on such an important issue. Today, the House is ready to act for the American people and will be considering S-204, the Trickett-Wendler, Frank Mongiello, Jordan McClin, and Matthew Bellina Right to Try Act of 2017.